Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Starcastic Remarks. Yes, we were on hiatus for a little while. Alongside James and Chris, my name is Ryan. Thank you for whoever put that up. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that.
Hope it has Blackhawk game on Saturday. Y'all slacking. That wasn't my fault. Wasn't me.
Okay, all right.
It wasn't me either.
Oh, shut up, both of you. This is
Who could it
this
have
is how
been?
this is supposed to start off. Shut up. Anyways, welcome to the most sarcastic and remarky show of all time. See, I've forgotten what my train of thought is just gone, guys. Normally I have a good intro and y'all just screwed it up. Thanks so
Next
much.
comment. You know it's going to be good when Ryan actually
Shut
shows
up.
up. Bang.
Shut up.
Two.
Chris. Shut up. Gosh.
I'm not doing it. It's the people. I'm the people's people.
Well, at least you're not Jerry Jones on like a radio show or something. That could be even worse. Anyways, thank you to DraftKings Sportsbook and also to Game Time for being our sponsors. We appreciate them as always. Promo code is THPN. We will get a new sponsor as of November 1st. So on Friday, we'll have a brand new sponsor. We'll have 3 presenting sponsors for this podcast network. So
And
thank you
more
to
free
them
stuff
as
for y'all.
always. Yeah, sure. We'll go with that. Anyways, Amanda's giving me a dirty look off camera over there. I don't know why. I'll have to find out later. Man, I had a full train of thought. I was ready, and then y'all screwed me up, and then now she's screwing me up over here too.
Perfect.
Anyways,
Well, everything's
Oh,
your
blaming
fault right
Amanda.
now, so,
yes, I'm gonna blame Amanda, and then
That's
Cooper's
weird.
over there too, just trying to get in.
All right. Anyway,
I'm gonna keep saying shut up. I'm on a podcast. Okay.
the Stars won a hockey game the other night.
They
Yes.
did.
And it was fantastic. I enjoyed watching it literally 4 hours after it happened. So, we're going to get into that game a little bit. We're obviously going to talk about Finland and basically a bye week for the Dallas Stars this week. And then I want to kind of talk a little bit about some specific players who are really kind of making their mark in this early season. And you can probably guess from the thumbnail for this video of 2 of the players that I would like to talk about. So we'll get into that as well. And then, as always, we'll get into whatever else you guys want to kind of talk about. So first things first, Dallas Stars are currently 7-2. They take care of business in their last game. Initial thoughts on this last game from Saturday against the Blackhawks?
Yeah, overall good, especially the start for me is what I was really looking at. Everyone knows it's a trap game. It was the game after playing a big opponent in the Bruins, right before going to the Finnish trip, which obviously, if you've seen anything from Star social media, they've already been having a ton of fun there. So it's right dead in the middle, something you might overlook, and they didn't, especially in the beginning of the game. They took care of business those first 15 minutes, really took it to them. Let up a little bit maybe in the last 10 minutes, pretty much by everybody. I mean, Otter included for the first time this season, probably his first bad goal that he let in. But honestly, overall, you got out of there. You got the points. You played the majority of the game well. We'll take that.
Yeah, they played really well for, I'd even go all the way to 50 minutes. Like you said, it's really just that last 10 minutes where they let their guard down, and it was a hungry Chicago team, second night of a back-to-back. That's huge props to them more than anything, honestly. It's your second night and you're down 3-0 with 10 minutes left and you're still fighting for that. That was more surprising to me that there was a push at all, honestly.
I was actually, to be completely honest with you guys, I was very happy with the Stars' effort in the game. But the thing that surprised me the most was the Blackhawks. They were, dare I say, they were pretty good. Yeah. I mean, that especially the last 10 minutes, they scared me. And in the last, 5, 6, 7 years, however long they've been out of the playoffs, it's just kind of been, for the most part, a throwaway game, an easy 2 points. And that's not the case with this team anymore. You have to be careful with the Chicago Blackhawks. So that's it's more fun when there's more teams that are more competitive. It makes it harder, obviously, for the Stars, and we don't want that. But from the product aspect, from the watching hockey aspect, it was a very fun game to watch. It seriously was.
Yeah, they're exactly where I thought they would be this offseason, right? So I said I really liked what they did this offseason. There wasn't a blockbuster signing, but they signed a lot of really solid players that made this team competitive, which is what you especially want with a young player like Connor Bedard and with Seth Jones. You want both of them to be able to get in competitive games. And honestly, this team isn't fantastic, but it has a fighting chance to try and scrap for the last playoff spot. And I think that's what you want when you have a roster full of players that can do it. You want to give them a goal and something to fight for. And I think this team absolutely could find themselves at least in the mix by the end of the year. If they're in the East, I'd say that they're in. But since they're in the West, I'll say they're in the mix.
Yeah, there's just I don't know if they're going to be in the mix at all, honestly, the Blackhawks. But
I think they could be. They
definitely look more dangerous than they did last year. But you got to remember, last year they were like the second worst in the entire league. So better.
Exactly.
Better is it's hard to be worse.
So here's the thing though, and I know, Chris, you said they didn't really hire. They didn't really sign any like top players or anything like that, but they really did. They hired a couple of like two guys in particular that I was really actually impressed that they got was Teuvo Teravainen. That's a guy easily a 20 goal scorer like every single year. He's been super solid for the Hurricanes.
I said not blockbusters. I said I really liked their kind of middle signings that made them competitive, just not big blockbusters.
Well, okay, so maybe not big signings, but definitely not mid signing. These guys are top 6
They had
players.
great signings. Yeah, their signings that they made were fantastic. That's what I said.
And then Bertuzzi as well. That's exactly right, Mato.
Fantastic.
Like he has been very good for them, and he was actually a guy that I wanted to be on the Stars so bad. Like he's exactly a Mason Marchment type of guy that I would love to see on our team. And I hate playing against him because he's such a pain in the butt. But okay. Anyway, we're sitting here talking about the Chicago Blackhawks and how good they've been, but the Stars were excellent in the game as well. They had their moments when they've let up and stuff like that. And that's unfortunate that we've seen that throughout the beginning of the season, but I mean, you can't really complain, guys. It's like there have been moments where there have been mental lapses from different players and such like that, but they're 7-2, and the teams that they have lost to, you kind of wish they had beaten. But even in the Buffalo game, the most recent loss, even though we pretty much got dominated for a good portion of it, we still had an opportunity there at the end to try and get a point. So they're competitive every single night. They're 7-2. They're still not playing their best. We're nitpicking everything, and there's still some big things there. But I like where the team's at. I'll pull a Jim now.
I really think that after we lost to the Sabres, against the Bruins and Chicago, both of those games were very, very good. The last 10 minutes of the Blackhawks game, okay, whatever. I'll throw that away because of how good they were playing up to that point, honestly. But they looked very solid. They were winning tons of puck battles, which they hadn't been doing for most of the season. They just been perfect shots, pretty much, is what it was.
Yep.
But now that the picking corners is dried a little, they're fighting for goals now too, and that's something that has been really encouraging to see.
Yeah, I think the Chicago game is kind of a good summation a little bit of how the start to the season went for the Stars. I mean, pretty good for the majority of it. They weren't dominating, they weren't world beaters or anything, but they were doing what they had to do to win the games. What I'd say is different from this game to the rest of the season, though, is that other than the one goal, our goaltenders have been amazing. Both DeSmith and Otter have had incredible starts to the season. So that's allowed us to have a good start, or an okay start, you might say, for the rest of the Stars. But when our goaltending is world class, like it has been in the beginning of this season, that's what got us to the record we're at right now, in my opinion, is fantastic goaltending.
So the weird stat that is goals saved above expected, Jake Ottinger and Casey DeSmith are both in the top 10 of that. So that's definitely a huge part of the start for the Stars.
What about goals saved above expected per 60?
They're still in the top 10.
Really?
DeSmith is second and Jake is sixth.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, you seriously can't complain that about any of that. So if we're specifically talking about this game, though, obviously Otter's in the net for this game, I believe, right?
Yeah, for Chicago. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, it's been a while. He just looks solid every time he's in the net. And I'll use a word that I was talking to some of my students about, but it's almost like he's got this humble ego about him. It's not even a confidence anymore. He's got a little bit of an ego, and he knows that he's one of the better goalies in the league, but he's also humble about it at the same time, and it keeps him centered on earth a little bit. So he knows he can make those mistakes, and it can cost him sometimes. But the way that both him and DeSmith have played has been excellent. And I mean, that goes to show you, and the fact that, Otter, one of the things he really wanted to get better at this year was his home record and how he played at home. And he has been perfect, literally. I think he's won every single game he has played at home. I think he's 5-0 right now, if y'all can double check me on that.
Yep, that's correct.
I was actually watching a couple of videos today, and the Stars overall, they're letting in less than 2 goals per game. And I think out of the last 3 games, they've only been scored on in like 3 out of the 9 periods or something like that. It's something ridiculously stupid like that. So the way they have started this season defensively with goaltending has been excellent.
Yeah, 100% agree. Other than that one goal that Otter let up on the Bedard shot, which you probably want to be saved. He's pretty far out. I know it's Bedard. He's probably got one of the better shots in the game.
I think he gave him a pass
sneaky
for that one.
Bedard's shot is different, is what I will say. It's different.
I don't want to
it comes at you weird.
He's out he's almost past the circle when he takes that wrist shot, though. That's one that if Otter sees the whole way, I want him to save that. But other than that, I don't think there's a goal that I look at and grit my teeth at.
I don't know. I think you're underestimating Bedard a bit there. But
yeah, like maybe. Okay, now if it's Matthias Janmark or Ryan Donato or Chris Garbett or Ryan Garbett for those way back in the day, then I would say Otter probably wants that one back. But this is probably one of the best shooters in the NHL.
He does it to every goaltender. This is not just an Otter specific thing. He shoots from anywhere and it just goes in.
Picks the corner. Yeah. I don't understand how he does it.
If you're a Vezina goalie, though, and that's what his start to the season has been, these first few games for him have been Vezina caliber. If you're on a Vezina year, you probably save that, though, is what I'm thinking. So I'm definitely, I'm agreeing with y'all. I'm holding to him to a very high line, but I think he's capable of doing that, too. And that's what he's going to get paid for next year, too.
Okay, so specifically with this game, let's just talk about the 3 stars of the game just to kind of rehash our minds and kind of get the game back in our heads a little bit, mostly for me. Obviously, Jamie Benn gets the goal. The goal that he had, that was hand-eye coordination, ridiculousness, and it was beautiful. I loved watching it. Miro Heiskanen got the second star. He had 2 assists on the night, and then Matt Duchene had 2 goals on the night, getting the empty netter to put it away, put the Stars up 4-2. So one of the players I did want to talk about, just how the start of the season has gone, is Matt Duchene. He's one of the 2 that I put in the thumbnail for this episode. He currently leads the Stars in points, which I don't want to say I'm surprised, because he can absolutely do it, but I am a little bit surprised considering the players that are on this team. I mean, like, he is absolutely somebody that I should have been like, yeah, he could lead the Stars in points and everything, especially early in the season. But he has been lights out, especially the last week and a half for the Stars.
Yeah. I'm not shocked, but I am a little bit shocked because he did it 2 years in a row now. I mean, 2 years in a row, that's impressive. I thought it was going to be a little bit slower start for him. He talked about how last season he felt like he was kind of in like a fever dream to start the season. Like he was just playing and he just wasn't thinking about anything else because he couldn't allow himself to, really. That was kind of an interesting thing that he let us into his mind in a little bit at the end of the year last year, which was cool. But, I mean, this year, he's doing the exact same thing he did last year. Crazy hot start. I mean, he's leading this team's offense right now. And, yeah, he's putting himself in position to score. I mean, 6 goals in 9 games is crazy.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Not that I expected it, but it makes sense when you think about what lines stayed intact and what lines have changed. That's the only line that's the same, and that's the one that's clicking the best for the Stars right now. So it definitely makes sense that he's topping the Stars in scoring.
It doesn't make sense, but it does make sense.
But it totally does make sense.
But I'm a little bit I'm not shocked, but I'm a little bit shocked. Anyways, he's been excellent for the Stars. I've loved watching him play. The other guy that I think we really need to talk about more, and we're not doing enough of, is Logan Stankoven. He is absolutely lighting it up and not getting enough attention, especially from the national media. He is currently leading all NHL rookies in goal scoring when it comes to points. Yes, he only has the one goal. Scoring. Yeah. And I should say, I'll just say points. He's got 8 assists, I believe, maybe 7. He's got 8 points or 9 points. I forget.
He's got 9.
9. Okay, so he's got 8 assists, 1 goal. So, and he's doing that on the top line where, Robo and Rope haven't looked their 100% best, and they haven't looked super comfortable. And it's almost felt like instead of Rope being the driver of that line, it's been Stank. Like he's been the one that has kind of taken the reins on that top line and has kind of made them a little bit more relevant.
As Chris drops something on his side,
I dropped my notes.
I don't know if he's been the driver, honestly. I still think Hintz is just ridiculous in his speed and his size, but Stankoven has definitely been the little fly that makes everything happen. So in terms of where the play is ending up, I still think that's the majority of Hintz, but he's definitely the reason why that top line is getting any pressure.
Yeah, and this was the most interesting thing coming out of training camp for me is like, we know it's going to be either Johnston or Stank who's going to take over that role in the top line from Joe Pavelski. And I thought it was going to be a lot more back and forth than it has been. And honestly, I thought Johnston was going to be the one to take it. I mean, with how great of a playoffs he had last year and how he had played with that top line multiple times and showed promise there, I thought that was just going to click and they're just going to roll with that and it was going to be what it was. But Stankoven has been undeniable. I mean, he has been the best forward for the most time, I think, on this team. So while Duchene's the driver with the point scoring and getting timely goals, Stankoven's pace and his, like I always say when I'm talking about Stankoven, his intensity on the puck is pushing that line a lot, especially when we're trying to get a forecheck rolling. He's just fantastic at that.
One of the things he talked about when he was on here about a year and a half ago was his motor. That's his thing that he really thinks is his biggest accomplishment and the thing that really kind of sets him apart from everybody else. And he kind of was honest about it. He's just like, I kind of have to be because of my size, I have to work a little bit harder than some of the taller and bigger guys than me. So, and he's shown that, and he reminds me so much of Kaprizov. And here's what I mean when I talk about Kaprizov. Kaprizov, you can immediately tell when Kaprizov is on the ice, the game just immediately gets more exciting. And that's what Stankoven does when he's on the ice. He is an absolute pest, not in the Brad Marchand way, but he is just relentless on the puck. If he doesn't have the puck and it's in the opposing team zone, he is constantly hacking and looking for that puck and messing with the defenders, trying to get it, and it forces them to make bad plays with the puck. And it allows him or whoever else to take the puck and, get an offensive chance, or at the very least get an offensive faceoff or something. And that's been something I have loved watching, especially with him this year. We saw a little bit of it towards the end of the regular season last year, but this year it has been much more consistent. And I think it's just because he feels a lot more confident in the NHL right now because of those games in the regular season last year and also in the playoffs. So that's the particular aspect of his game that I've really enjoyed watching. He's just so much fun to watch.
Yeah. Kaprizov, just a foot shorter.
There you go.
Only a foot.
But how tall is Kaprizov?
He's big.
He's 6'2"?
I think he's around 6'2", 6'3", I think.
6'3", something like that. Okay. Well, anyways, he's been a lot of fun to watch, and he, along with Duchene, have been a lot of the Stars' offense so far this season. I want to take a quick jump into the defense, though. And this is something that I've had on my mind, actually, for the last couple of weeks. Lundqvist. I mean, you can't deny how much we complained about Nils Lundqvist the previous 2 years. This year, I have I don't want to say absolutely, but very few, issues with him this season when it comes to his defensive play. Like 95% of the time when I'm watching him, and I'm specifically targeting him, watching him, he has almost always made the exact right play defensively. And he's shoved people off the puck. He has not made a stupid pass towards the center of the ice trying to get out of his own zone or anything like that. And to be completely honest with you, the player that I've seen do that more often is Matt Dumba. And if I had to make an argument right now, I would say that right now Nils Lundkvist has played better than Matt Dumba so far. Now, that's not including all of the factors and the fact that, Matt Dumba plays with Miro Heiskanen, so he's probably up against more high-end talent than Nils Lundkvist is. But we expected Dumba to be better than what he is giving us right now. So if I'm doing it based off of a system and how I'm feeling about the players right now, I'm feeling a lot more positive about Nils Lundkvist than I am about Matt Dumba. Thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. Quick record correction, actually. Kaprizov's only 5'10" as well, so I was dead wrong. He just plays
really
big. Yeah.
That surprises me
he
a
just
lot.
Plays like he's big. So,
yeah.
My bad.
Well, so does Stankoven.
Agreed, yeah. But yeah, I 100% agree. I think Nils is doing what he needs to do right now to stay a full-time NHLer. And I think it's really important that he's focusing a lot on the defensive side, and we're still able to see the hints of what he can do offensively. Like, we're still seeing him push down into the offensive zone. We're still seeing him get into the slot when other defensemen likely wouldn't. I'd like to see that convert a little bit more into offense. But right now, as long as he's not making mistakes, he doesn't need to. So the key is if he can figure out how to be an everyday NHL defender this beginning of the year, and then the points start to trickle in, I think that's when you're going to finally see the value that Jim Nill has always seen in Lundkvist. And it looks like he's at least on the right path right now to get that going.
Yeah, I think Lundkvist just played well to start the season. There's obviously he still every now and then has that really, really bad turnover, but if he can limit those like he has, he'll continue to stay on the ice this year. I mean, that's really what I think his goal should be this year. Stay on the ice the whole year. Stay on the team.
Yeah. And since Ryan's muted, I'm going to say the point that I hope that he was making. Nils had been making those turnovers, but they haven't been at the horrid times that they were at last year. Last year, Nils would make those turnovers, and it would be 5 minutes left of the third period in a 1-goal game, or it would be in overtime, or just horrible timing on his turnovers. And now when he's making those turnovers, they're not as bad, and they're not at just the most critical times in the game. So I think that's why we're seeing it a little bit less too.
Well, I haven't seen. I would honestly say that the number of turnovers I've seen Nils Lundkvist make I could count on one hand so far in the entire season. Agreed. Honestly, I can think of like 3 off the top of my head, and the third one wasn't even really all that bad. It was the only option he was given, and it was just a rim up the boards on the left side. And it wasn't even straight to the other team. It was just a scrum there on the half wall. But that's why I'm so frustrated with Matt Dumba, is because he's getting paid a little bit more. He's playing a top 2 role with Miro Heiskanen, and he is making egregious mistakes. I mean, it's unforgivable. And I'm not trying to turn him into the new Ryan Suter, but he really is. I have absolutely hated the last 2 or 3 games, some of the turnovers that he's had. And then the other thing, and I know some people are also going to say, well, that's just kind of what you have to live with when you have Matt Dumba. Some of the penalties he's taken, and we're lucky that the Stars penalty kill is so good as it has been so far this year. But seriously, some of the penalties he has taken have been absolutely egregious. The random, interference hit where the puck was like Dickinson. 6 feet away.
There was nothing there. He just was like, oh, I have him lined up already. Might as well follow through.
Right. And I'm just like, that's stupid. That's absolutely stupid. And eventually the Stars penalty kill is gonna, tame down a little bit, and it's not gonna be as hot. And one of those stupid penalties he takes is gonna cost us 2 points in a game. So and that's why maybe it's not fair. He's playing more minutes than Nils Lundqvist. He's playing against harder competition, but still, I expect more from Matt Dumba than I do Nils Lundqvist. So he's got to be better.
Yeah, that was going to be my devil's advocate defense, is that Matt Dumba is playing against the other team's best players. He is playing top pair minutes. So that's probably why you're seeing that a little bit more. To kind of come after him with y'all, he's not playing a crazy amount of minutes. He has
At like
16, 18.
minutes?
That's
16,
skewed
but
because of his
it's
first
skewed
game.
because of the one game
He really
that he
plays
played.
20 minutes a night.
He generally
Like
plays about
18.
20 minutes a night, which is still, even with that, I was going to make that caveat, James, but thank you for jumping on me beforehand. I actually do appreciate that. He's still fourth on the team. Harley, Haskin, and Lindell are all higher than him, even if we're thinking he's around the 20-minute mark in actuality. So for a guy who's getting paid $4 million, you'd like that to be a little bit more consistent. And maybe we get to playoff times into the end of the season and we start to see the fear that he can put in opponents more. But I've seen more bad than I've seen good from him.
Yeah, it's
so far. Yes.
It's really tough because we haven't seen him for very long, and we're asking him to play one of the biggest positions on our team. I mean, he's the first defenseman on the right side. I mean, that's the best we got. We have no one else. So he's gotta mix a little more. I think I'm okay letting it go for now. But like, if we're still 20, 30 games into the season and it keeps happening and it's the same night and the same thing every night, that's when something's gonna have to be done.
Yeah.
Whether
So
that
far,
be Haskin and Harley back together or what.
Yeah. So far, failing grade, but no panic button yet. I'd agree with that.
That's a good summation from both of you. I agree. So let's throw another guy into the mix here. Okay.
Well, before that, let me tie in the 100-degree hockey Texas Stars check-in, because I think a guy who does do what we imagine Dumba will do in the NHL well is Liam Bixel, and Bixel's doing it fantastically with the Texas Stars. He is making an impact, making anyone scared anytime they enter the Texas Stars offensive zone. With his size, he makes at least one big hit every night. He normally makes one every period, but he is able to control his emotions, and the other team is constantly going after him, after whistles, in between whistles, when the puck goes the other direction. They're trying to egg him on to get him to do something stupid. He's been avoiding that. He's been making just the correct defensive plays, nothing flashy. He just gets the puck out of his end. He gets the puck off the boards, gets it to guys who can make plays. So I think that's kind of what we're trying to see from Dumba, and we have seen too much bad stuff so far. We see less bad. Like, we don't need more good necessarily, but we need less bad.
If you're bringing up Liam Bixel, you're not bringing him up to be a bottom pairing defenseman. You're not.
No, I was bringing him up to talk about him, not to the team.
Okay, all right, but fair enough. But I want to throw Lyubushkin in here because, for the most part, I've actually been very impressed with Ilya Lyubushkin, and he's mostly been playing with Esa Lindell or with Harley a little bit. Excuse me, I don't know why I said Esa Lindell. Harley mostly, and especially on the penalty kill, I've been extremely impressed with how he's played. Yeah. And I'm almost to the point where and again, this is still really early, so we need to give it more time. But if you get like halfway through the season, it's after Christmas, and Matt Dumba is still not working on that top pairing, I would almost, and Lyubushkin is still doing what he's doing on the second pairing, I would almost be looking to flip those guys and say, Dumba, you can play on the second pairing with Harley, and then we're going to throw Lyubushkin up there.
And
so
I think this is where expectations especially hurt Dumba, because when you look at who Lyubushkin is replacing, he's replacing Hakanpää. And I think Lyubushkin's playing better than Hakanpää was playing with the Stars. Agreed. Even on the penalty kill. With Lindell and Lyubushkin, that's been a great defensive start. So Lyubushkin had an easier job replacing Hakanpää. Done. He can do that. He's done that before. Dumba's having to replace Chris Tanev for the Stars. Is what is the role that he's in that we saw last.
But it's even more severe because he's basically taking Thomas Harley's spot. If we're being completely honest.
Yeah, either he's replacing Harley or he's replacing Tanev, and either way, it's for sure a downgrade. So
right.
I agree. I think it's worth, if it stays the same, to try Lyubushkin up top. But then I think you're going to go right back and reverse yourself and be like, man, Dumba's playing great as our second right defenseman. Lyubushkin's terrible. And it's just going to end up in a cycle like that, as long as Dumba continues playing the way he's playing.
But this is exactly why both of those players got $3+ million contracts, is because we didn't have enough money to go out there, and there wasn't anybody available on the right side that could play with Miro and allow Miro to play on the left side. So they went out there and they got 2 $3+ million guys, and they said, hopefully one of these guys works. And right now, Matt Dumba is not working out in the first 10% of the season. Okay. It could get better, but right now it's not working. And Lyubushkin has shown that he has played better than Matt Dumba. And again, Dumba's playing against much harder competition. He's 4th in ice time for the most part, even though I think Lyubushkin actually did play more in the last game in Chicago than Dumba did. He didn't? Okay. Nix that.
Play 2 more minutes.
Nix that. Okay. Anyways, he has been better for me, at least what I've seen, than Matt Dumba has.
Yeah. I think my big problem with Dumba instead of Lyubushkin is like Lyubushkin does the same thing every night. And we have seen that from the start of the season too. He's doing the same thing. He's invisible. That's his thing.
That's the way he should be. That's
exactly what we expected from him. And Matt Dumba, we expected more when there has never been more from him, is kind of what I think. I mean, he has played first pairing before, but he has not recently. And that's where it's kind of tough.
When was the last time he did, James? It was back in his Minnesota days?
Minnesota was truly his last top pairing. I mean, I think he played top pairing in the 23-24 season, but he was with the Coyotes.
Yeah.
So
and that doesn't really,
and we all know how great the Minnesota team was. A lot of skill on that roster.
At the time he was there, not so much. Agreed. So I don't know. It's just, again, it's the most interesting part of this roster is going to be the defense. I mean, we talked about it all off season, and now we've gotten to see it in action in the first 9 games of the season. And we could go leaps and bounds over talking about what this could mean for the next 60 games of the regular season.
And I agree with what you said, Ryan. I think if Dumba continues this way, Lyubushkin gets a look on the top pair. But I think we want to let that marinate a little bit more. Give Dumba the veterans benefit of the doubt a little bit longer, see if he can figure some things out. He did get off an injury that happened really early too. He's only played 5 games. So yeah, we give him a little bit longer, but eventually if it doesn't work, we'll see a little swap and see what happens.
All right. Again, for the 3rd time, there's excuses there that are valid for Matt Dumba, but I still want to see him play better. Anyways, just some comments. Jacob saying Lyubushkin has been pleasantly solid. Not very many, if any, mistakes that I have noticed from him, unlike Dumba. I think Dumba's have been more noticeable because of the timing of them. And I think Lyubushkin has made some mistakes, but every defenseman has made mistakes, including Miro. There have been some really bad turnovers from Miro this year that we normally don't see. And then this is a very good comment from Joe. In defense of Dumba, 1 year ago, it felt like Marchment was just getting paid to commit penalties. Then that line clicked, and he hasn't looked back. And especially in this is his 3rd year here in Dallas, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Cause he played with someone else before Duchene.
That was fast.
So it was very fast. So his first year, he didn't look all that great. And we were all talking about how he wasn't worth that $4.5 million. And then last year he met expectations, 20 goal scorer, about 50 points. That's exactly what we needed from him. And then literally this year, he's doing the same thing again. He's kind of matching expectations. So that is a very good comment from Joe in defense of Dumba, and that maybe it's just going to take some time with him. And he's got a 3-year contract from the Dallas Stars. Now, it kind of sucks because of the timing of it. We're in a win now mode. I really think we are in a win now mode with this team. He's got to be better because we need him to be better right now.
It's still October, though. We got a lot of time to get some things figured out.
No, James. No. No. Okay. Anyways, what I do want to move on to is I want to move on to more general NHL stuff. And one of the things I wanted to bring up, guys, is what's your biggest surprise, and then what's your like biggest disappointment from this season so far, from what you've seen?
There's only one correct answer. It's the Jets.
Okay, there's the biggest surprise. Okay, so here's the most hilarious thing in the world, right? Okay, and it's because I listen to SDP, the Steve Dangle podcast, all the time. They go out and they get completely ran out of the building by the Columbus Blue Jackets, and then they turn around 2 nights later and give the Winnipeg Jets their first loss of the season. I don't get the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's so much fun to watch it. But anyways,
the Leafs are doing Leaf things.
Yes, they're doing Leaf things. And so, that being said, the Jets have only lost one time so far this season. That is to the Toronto Maple Leafs. And they have absolutely been lights out. Like, if it wasn't for them, the Dallas Stars would be number 1 in the Central Division right now. So, I mean, I haven't paid a lot of attention to them or what's going on there, but normally we look at the Winnipeg Jets and we say, hey, it's the defense and obviously Connor Hellebuyck, which, yes, that is a factor in this year. But it's not just that this year, guys. It seems like everybody on the Winnipeg Jets right now is scoring. And it almost to the same caliber that the New York Rangers are. And the Rangers have all of these enormous guys with Panarin and Zibanejad and Lafreniere and Trocheck. And the Jets were seen to maybe even be taking a step back. I'll eat my words on this. I think I picked them to miss the playoffs this year. At the very least be a wild card, or at the very most be a wild card. So I fully agree with you there, Chris. Is the biggest surprise on the positive aspect has to be the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, they're third in offense. Who's scoring? They don't have anybody.
No, they do. They do have people, but it's just I think they're exceeding expectations right now.
Yeah,
or maybe maybe they were just they weren't living up to their expectations from last year. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know, but they've been very good.
Yeah, I think they're definitely exceeding expectations. And when you think about the Jets going on a streak like this, the number one thing you go to is, okay, is Connor Hellebuyck have like 4 shutouts? No, they're scoring 1 billion goals. Like,
he's played good too, though.
He's played solid. He hasn't. Otters had a better start than him, honestly. So I don't know what got into the Jets, if they just had
Hellebuyck is actually getting help. He's just getting help.
Yeah, they score like 8 goals a game a couple times. I think it's been insane. So I don't know what's going on over there in Winnipeg, but they got some Michael stuff for sure.
I'll tell you the other one that makes no sense. This one makes even less sense to me. So my big positive is the Minnesota Wild. What the heck is going on over there? Their team isn't good, okay? You can talk about the Jets. They have really good players. The Wild should not be as good as they are. And they just recently got their first regulation loss as well. What's up with that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
The Central has gone from there's pretty big gap between the best teams and the worst teams, but it's a solid division. They've got a solid argument for the best. And now we are by far the best division in the league. I mean, there are so many amazing teams. It looks like right now they're eschewing to have 5 teams go to the playoffs.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think one of the worst teams in the division right now is Nashville. Yeah, and that was everyone's kind of dark horse for a top 3 contender. And they've been terrible.
Now, in their own defense, they are starting to pick it back up, and I think it has taken them a little while.
So has Colorado.
Yep. And Colorado, I think they've won 5 in a row until they recently lost to. They just lost. Before that, they won 5 in a row. The Blackhawks, yeah, of course.
They're 5-5.
Yeah, agreed. Like some of these teams, just here's the top 4 in the Central Division right now: Winnipeg, Dallas, Minnesota, Colorado. Yeah. In that order. I did not expect that at all. So I mean,
and Blues even and Utah is tied with Colorado.
Yeah, they're both playing well.
Exactly. So I don't know, but Honestly, for me, guys, if there's another surprise for me, if we're just like looking at teams, it's Washington. And I'm not surprised about Washington because I really liked what they did over the offseason. But what I am surprised about is how quickly and how well it has kind of folded together.
Yeah.
With Logan Thompson there and all the moves that they made, I mean, they overhauled the roster. They got younger. They got some guys who can score some goals. I really love that the Andrew Mangiapane ad that they made from Calgary. That was an excellent move. I want him on the Dallas Stars. I really do. But I mean, right now they're what 6-2-1, if I remember correctly, just 6-2,
Yeah.
and they've got 31 goals, 31 goals for, and 24 goals against. So it's just another team that's just kind of been a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, it seemed like every move that Washington made was just A+. I mean, they're just working perfectly. That's really what happened there, is that all the things that they made worked out, where if you're lucky, maybe half of them do over an offseason with so much change.
And then Lindgren in net alongside Logan Thompson. That's a really solid tandem because Lindgren was really good for the Capitals last year. Actually took the starting job from Darcy Kemper. And that's why Darcy Kemper is not even a Capital anymore. It's because they realized Lindgren was better and they could live with him and somebody else. And I still don't understand the trade that the Knights made by sending off Logan Thompson to the Capitals. That makes zero sense to me. I don't understand it. And they signed Samsonov, if I remember correctly. And I don't see how you think Samsonov is a better goalie than Logan Thompson. But I rest my case. Whatever.
Nice behavior, for sure.
That's true. That's also true. What's been something that you've noticed just looking through the season, early on in the season? What's been like the biggest disappointment? Who's been the biggest disappointment?
I mean, it's for sure Nashville. I think they had so much excitement with that roster. I mean, we pretty much called it. We thought it was going to take them a minute to get a bunch of ego superstars like that to figure it out together, and it's proven that it has. They're starting to a little bit here, but man, that was a rough start for them. I think they lost their first 4 or 5. Stuff.
I think it was 5 in a row.
Yeah. Well, now they're 3-5-1, so they are starting to turn around a little bit. But yeah, that's a tough start for that much hype too. There's even people putting them as cup contenders, not just playoff contenders, actual cup contenders immediately.
I think my biggest disappointment is Celebrity getting hurt, honestly, because the Sharks suck.
Yeah,
and that was gonna make them like a lot better. And he's already hurt. I mean, he played like 2 games.
Yeah,
that is terrible.
It was going to be. Yeah, we got to see one, and he had a really high skill goal there.
Yeah, that was fun.
But yeah, it was going to be like Chicago was last year. It was going to be the Connor Bedard show that comes in a couple times a year, but this time's going to be Macklin, and yeah, it just makes the Sharks just sad.
Looking at the bottom of the divisions in the Eastern Conference is very surprising. The first one is Pittsburgh, so not as surprising, but still kind of surprising considering that they want to make the playoffs and at least give Sidney Crosby one last hurrah before he retires. It doesn't look like that's going to happen.
No.
The other one is Boston. I mean, and that it kind of makes some sense because, it seems like it's finally.
We called it last year, and they just were hanging on by a thread.
Right. It's just like Father Time gave them 1 year and was just like, okay, fine, I'll let you be good for 1 more year. And I mean, last year was still pretty good for them. But I now that I'm looking back, that game against the Stars that Boston played, I mean, we still played okay. But it was, let's be honest, it was more that the Boston Bruins just absolutely sucked it up more than the Stars played good.
I won't give you that one. The Stars played really good that night. That has been their best game by far.
But I was just so shocked with how terrible the Bruins played. I mean, I've never seen in my lifetime a Bruins team play a game like that against the Stars that bad. It was weird. It was absolutely weird watching that game.
That's the kind of take you get when you skip the sarcastic remarks after game review.
It's true.
It's this thing called work.
It's unfortunate.
That
Just
is
don't work.
unfortunate.
Just get
Who
it.
needs money?
I should
watch
just
the
quit.
stars.
I should just quit because it's getting in the way
You
of
don't even need
podcasting.
money to watch the stars.
Yeah,
You
that's
stars is
true.
free. Victory Plus. Bang.
Yeah. If only I didn't have 3 kids and a wife to help out and give
Your fault.
have money for.
Your
So,
fault.
Now that is.
It is.
That's arguably your fault.
And not arguably. 100%.
100% my fault.
Suck it up.
Side tangent here. I haven't really noticed it much, but I have seen a lot of people complaining about it on Star's social media. Victory Plus. It seems to have some bugs and some issues. I have not had as many issues with it as others have appeared to, but one of the things that I have been a little bit frustrated with is when you do sometimes try to skip forward, especially if it's like days after a game, and I try to go back and like watch a specific play that I remember in order to make a point in a future episode or whatever. I have to constantly just have to exit out because it just freezes and stops. And then when I go back in to try and click on that same video, it restarts back at the beginning, and then I lose where I was. So that's something that is a bit of an issue. But again, it's Victory Plus. It's free. It's, again, 9 games into the regular season. It's going to be fine. It's going to get better. And I still just don't understand why people are complaining about it as much as they are.
I'm shocked that anyone's complaining about anything from it because I've had no issues, honestly. Like, the only thing I can complain about is the fast forwarding isn't super fine-tuned yet. Like, and that's it. Bug-wise, I've had no bugs. I've had no stoppages. I haven't had to refresh anything. It is working 100% perfectly for me. So I'm shocked so many people are having problems. I think a lot of the complaints are coming from people that still haven't gone all the way into streaming yet, the way the majority of people probably have. So I think that's where a large number of the complaints are coming from. But you also need to look at what the alternative was. Last year, you were paying $200 a year to watch the stars on Bally for $20 a month.
For a really crappy service.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It wasn't just really crappy service. It dropped out sometimes in the middle of the games. You had to refresh the thing all the time. We missed 3 stars games completely not on the air at all because their thing went down. People forget that. We fully missed 3 games. That's crazy. And now we're saving $200. We're watching it for free, and we haven't missed any games yet. That's 100% win. I think people are forgetting how horrible Bally was. It was awful.
And we gained 5 preseason games on top of that. We didn't just have 1 preseason.
There you go. There's more. And if you go on Victory Plus, and you can scroll for like 4 hours on there and find new stars, stuff that you didn't watch.
Too.
You can watch old games.
I've watched.
It's crazy. So I think the main complaints. I mean, we should tell them when there's an issue with their service. 100%. That should happen. But you should come at it with the perspective that we didn't get to see 3 stars games last year because of how bad Bally was. Oh yeah, and here's a good point from Brooke down here. They could have done what the Mavs did. You see what the Mavs did with Mavs TV?
No, what do they do?
They're charging, I don't remember what it was, so I'm not even going to guess a number. It's over $100 for the season for the Mavs if you want to watch it streaming. Or you have to be within the DFW limits to get it via satellite. That's crazy. I mean, especially when the Stars just put out a free-to-watch option, like right before them, that I'm sure they pitched to the Mavs too. So that's kind of nuts.
Mod with the save there, $15 a month, I think.
There you go. So yeah,
$125.
a whole season, just over $100. Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me that they did that right after the Stars put out a free model.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if they continue with that or if maybe they jump on board with the Stars eventually. But I doubt it. I doubt it. I just don't see the NBA being okay with something like that. But anything. Anyways, there is one thing I do want to talk about before we start wrapping it up here. And that's something that has gone on in the last 3 games that have been on the positive side. And specifically with the Stars, the power play has been much better. And it was just, I don't know what it was. It was just couldn't get anything going. And then all of a sudden 3 goals in one game. And then we got a goal against the Blackhawks recently. So
I'll tell you what it was, Ryan. The
for
people without the puck were finally moving again, which was great. We were seeing movement. When you got from the point to the boards, we saw the net front guy slide behind the icing line like we saw so much last year, open up the behind the icing line to the slot into the net thing that we saw so many times. That was fantastic. We saw a lot more scrappiness in front of the net. So when the puck goes to the net, everybody goes to the net. We saw that a lot more. And we just saw cleaner, crisper passes as well. All 3 of those things I thought improved drastically with the power play. And I think that's what led to the increased production. Because if you go back and look at what was happening in that crazy long stretch where we couldn't score anything, everyone was standing still. I mean, it could have been the over 40 men's basketball league at the YMCA out there because no one was moving. And we got some people moving. We got people reading plays. We got people being creative, and now goals are going in.
And it's not just one power play, and that's was the thing that I was thinking about Ardell saying the second power play unit is really the first power play unit. Both the units have started to get a little bit better, and specifically that second unit has kind of exploded a little bit. And specifically Duchene, which is what Ardell kind of points out as well. Matt Duchene is really good. So that's something that has been on the positive side of that. But that was the one thing I noticed from the power play is that just the movement seemed more crisp. The pass seemed more crisp. They seemed more willing to take shots instead of just holding on to it, looking for the perfect shot. So that was the thing that I noticed, at least with the Stars with the power play the last week or whatever, before they gone off to Finland.
And in the Blackhawks game, whereas they only ended up getting one power play goal in that game, they could have had like 3. I mean, they really could have scored on all their chances. And I mean, I forget Chicago's goaltender, but he was having a really good game. He really was. Even though like the shots weren't super high for Dallas, the chances were ridiculous. I mean, they really could have scored, like it felt like 12 goals that game. So, and the first unit especially looked good on the power play against Chicago. It was just the second unit was the one that ended up getting the goal that night.
All right. And then let's get into this as well, obviously, because of where the Stars are. The Stars are currently off to Finland. They are currently there. They had a little bit of an issue getting there, but I think they were supposed to have practice in Helsinki yesterday. And because of some travel issues, they weren't able to do that. But they're there. And it's really cool for 3 players in particular who are there. And that's their home. It really is their home. So I was about to say home base, but it's home. So it's going to be really interesting to see how both of those games on Friday and Saturday kind of stack up against the Florida Panthers. And those games will be broadcast on Victory Plus, and I'm sure that they will also be nationally televised somewhere as well. What are you expecting from the Stars for these 2 games for the short set against the Florida Panthers coming up?
I'm excited for it. I mean, Florida Panthers have a lot of Finnish players on their team too, so they're really excited to play that as well. I think it's fantastic for Finland. It's fantastic for Dallas to get more fans out there in Finland, which I'd bet the Stars are probably one of the favorites of Finland fans in the NHL. So that'll be a lot of fun. And yeah, these are 2 cup contending teams that are both playing really well too, going at it 2 days in a row. It's going to be really exciting. I expect it's going to be a little bit of an elevated play style between these 2 teams because they feel the importance of this. Yeah, exactly. Both teams are having a whole week off pretty much to prepare for this game. And yeah, especially those Finnish players on each team, they're not going to want to lose in front of all their friends and family that they got out there. So I think it's going to be a pretty intense bout between these 2, especially back to back.
So, go ahead, James. You were about to say something. Go ahead.
I mean, it should be fun. It's it's something that we haven't gotten to experience yet because other teams have had this global series go on, but we're going to have weird 10 a.m. and then 12 p.m. starts. So find a way to watch them, but it should be a whole lot of fun. I'm really excited for it.
And just off the top of my head, and I know I'm probably forgetting one of them, but obviously Essa, Miro, Rope for the Stars. On the Panthers side, I know obviously Barkov is probably the biggest name from both teams, and then I believe Anton Lundell is also finished. Luostarinen, that's the other one.
They also have Mikkola.
Mikko Mikkola. That's right. One of the defensemen. He used to be in St. Louis, and I think he was in with the Rangers at some point too. Anyways, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited for that. I have no idea how I'm going to be able to watch them, but I'm going to try. And there's at least for us, well, we'll just go ahead and say it. I don't think there's any way we're going to be able to do an AGR immediately after either one of the games, just because it's during the day.
Well, the second game I can Saturday. We got a chance for that one, but yeah.
Well, I will not be able to do that, obviously, because it's the biggest day of my Farmersville career with my band. But otherwise, I really think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be really interesting to watch how those guys play, and maybe they get a little bit of an extra pep in their step, since they are in their home native country of Finland. So. Speaking of Finland, we have a Who Cares segment that we need to do, guys. So we totally thought up of this, hours ago, and all three of us are 100% ready and prepared with very good arguments as to what our top three will be. The Who Cares segment for this evening, gentlemen, will be our top three favorite flags because of the Finnish flag and because of the Finnish, I guess you could say, logo that I have on the thumbnail. That is our topic for Who Cares this evening. I'm going to start with number 3 with James. James, what is your number 3 flag?
Japan. It's a big red circle. That's great. Genius. I don't know who thought of that, but it's the rising sun. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing. That's all I got.
That is a unique design. I have to agree with that.
That's all I got. It's real unique.
Put a big old circle on there. All right.
Chris.
Okay, my turn.
It's you. Yeah, it's you, number 3.
We're going with Albania. Albania's flag is number 3. What does it even
look like? Hold on.
All right, I'm gonna present it. Okay, you ready? You're ready for this? Hold on.
Yes.
Let's see if I can do it real quick and continue talking while I do it as well. That would be impressive. But Albania's flag is like the sickest little dragon flag ever. Can y'all see that now?
That actually is pretty cool. I'll give you props for that. That's neat.
Look at that. I mean, 2 little bird dragon thingies and it's black on a red background. Like, man, if a 12-year-old made that flag, he would be so proud of himself. So that's it.
I don't know why it makes me think of this, but black, it almost looks like it kind of looks like the logo on the Spain flag a little bit.
The logo on the Spain flag.
I don't
intellectual,
know
ladies and gentlemen. Anyway,
shut up.
Moving on. Ryan, what's your number 3?
My number 3, I gotta go with South Africa. There's no real reason other than the fact that I really like the South African flag. It looks really cool. That's it. That's all I got for my number 3.
It does have a unique color scheme, and like normally for a flag, you don't want to have too many colors. That one has, I think it has like 5 or 6 colors maybe. But
okay, I gotta
works. It works great. I mean,
it has 6.
And it's a pretty unique design too. I mean, the kind of, I don't know what you'd call that, the sideways Y. I don't think we see that on any other flag. And in a world full of tricolors, I will very much accept a sideways Y flag. It's fantastic. I'm out of things to say, Ryan, so you're going too slow.
I'm sorry. I'm trying. Okay, here. Okay. So here you go. There's what it looks like. Oh no, you can't even.
Hey, you
freaking
want to
see it.
scroll over to it, buddy?
Yeah,
Click
I'm
images up
working
there
on
at the
it.
top.
Okay, chill.
Just click that images thing.
Okay,
There
there
it
you
is.
It
There you
is.
go,
There you go.
Oh,
YouTubers.
so
See?
beautiful.
See, it's got like it's got like all the primary colors, and it's even got the green, the black, and the white. That's cool. I really like it. So.
This is a great segment for our audio listeners. Anyway, James, what's
Yeah, I
your
know,
second
right?
favorite flag?
I'm gonna stick with simplistic flags, unlike y'all. I'm gonna go with Switzerland's flag because it's a huge plus.
Dang
Hey.
it, James! That was gonna be my. Oh, I hate you so much.
Switzerland's flag is a huge plus.
Okay,
So I got a
well-
circle and I got a
Yeah,
plus.
circle, you got plus. Bro's going for the
Where
triangle
is
next
number
time. We
one?
better be worried. We better be worried. We're coming with the triangle. All right, since y'all both went with the plus sign, lame. We're gonna go with another off the wall one because I am just a flag connoisseur. We're going with the Nepalese flag. The flag from Nepal. Have y'all seen this flag?
No.
No. Hold
Y'all
on,
are about to be befuddled. Here it is.
Oh, holy crap!
Look at that thing.
It's on its way. It's almost here. There it is.
That's
Look
actually-
at that.
I like
Oh,
that.
I
That's
have
different.
seen this.
That's not even a square.
It's
I don't
not
even know what
square.
you call that shape.
Yeah, that's not even I don't even know what that is. That's not a flag at all.
It's a flag. It's on a pole. It's flying in the air. It's looking pretty. That's a flag. That's Nepal, baby.
Well, I mean, what are those symbols? Obviously, the bottom one is the sun, but what's the top one?
I think that's like the sun and the moon. I don't know. I'm not Nepalese,
Oh,
but I'm
I
an
see.
appreciator.
Okay,
I'm an appreciator for sure.
yeah,
So
I
the
agree. That's a good
Nepalese
one.
flag.
All right, number one, James, what you got?
All right. So I got a circle. I got a plus, and now I got a star. I'm going with the Texas flag.
Boom, Texas,
Right.
baby, number one. Agreed. I'm going with Texas for number one. The blood runs down. The Lone Star State, number one, Texas. Bang.
Okay, you want to know what my number one is?
If it's not the United States of America flag, I'm going to be disappointed in you.
It's not the United States of America flag because I figured that would be too easy and too much fun.
Disappointed.
But in
no
because
patriotism in this dude.
because it's very similar to the Texas flag. Boom, chili.
Ugh.
It's
Why
literally
would
the
you
Texas
ruin
flag.
the Texas flag.
Yeah, that's literally the Texas flag, but hey, let's make it like 4% worse. And they succeeded. They
It's
nailed
the
it.
exact
They-
same.
It's not the same.
That is not the same.
It-
Do you
okay,
honestly
it's
believe
not
that's the
the
same flag?
exact same.
What's different about it, Ryan? What's different about it?
I think it's the red and the white, or no, it's not. What is it?
You don't know the
is it-
difference even.
Is it the red and the white are flipped?
Nope.
Oh my goodness.
What is it?
You have
Someone-
lost all credibility. You have instantly lost. You have fallen directly into my trap card, and you have failed.
Hold on. Oh, it's
Yeah, yeah,
the star is the
Uh-huh.
full.
The
length
star
of
is
the
smaller. Why would you
Got
make the
it.
star smaller?
Yeah,
Got
you fell into
it.
my trap card. You failed. You lost. Put your head between your knees and go on home. All right.
Nighty night. Well, anyways, it was
Before
close.
we close it out, one more hot take. The United States flag is terrible.
Really?
It's bad.
Symbolism is cool, but
The
The
symbolism,
symbolism
is
is
cool,
cool.
but you know what? We shouldn't have done the stars thing. It's too many
that's a
stars.
lot of stuff.
I'm gonna say it. It's too many stars.
I
And
mean,
can
when
you
you make it
imagine?
Okay,
small,
but it's
it
not.
Can
just
you
looks like
Here's the
imagine
thing.
dots.
living
No,
in
no.
like the 40s? Or wait, when did they start adding a bunch of states? Can you imagine living at the time where they were adding a bunch of states? And
Like
the
the
flag
18
just
the late
changes every
1800s.
year? Can you
Gotta add
imagine
another
your
star.
flag changing every single year? That's crazy. Why did we do that? That wasn't a good idea.
Because we're United States. It's
Of
not
the
just-
major countries, our flag technically is the youngest because we keep adding stars to it.
That's
Stop it.
true.
Get
Well,
some
hey,
help.
Watch Puerto Rico become a state,
Yeah,
and then
what are we gonna do
we have to
then?
add another star.
51
do
is
then?
such 51 stars is such a weird combo. Like you can't make it look good on the flag. And it's like you almost think like at some point, like someone back in the late 1800s, early 1900s should have said, we really should probably change this thing because they're just gonna have to keep adding stars. They should have just come up with something else.
Well, they should have just been
like
hey,
anything else.
Hey, you know what? Let's not do that. You know what? This could get bad. Like,
But
especially when
now,
we got to 20. When we got to 20, we should have been like, wait a second. What are we actually doing here? What's actually happening?
Well, okay.
There's like, just put it on. More stars.
But here's the thing though, is we're too far gone at this point. Now you can't change it.
Now
you have to keep going with it. Like,
if we ever take over the world and we just like keep on adding stars, like you're not even gonna be able to see them. There's gonna be dots. And have you ever seen like them try to like put like into sports games or an emoji? The American flag doesn't work as an emoji.
That is
true. It's just dots. There's not even enough dots. There's not enough pixels. It doesn't make sense. You can't have something that's small. It's so terrible. Has to be the worst flag. Terrible.
It's not the worst flag.
Okay, it's not the worst flag. But like
France and Russia copied each other's flags and just flipped the colors around. And
well, actually, I'm knowledgeable on this. Hold on, they both copied the Netherlands. Actually, the Netherlands did that first.
I was about to say
they were like, actually, we're gonna grab that. Yes. I like that.
So we have three countries with the same three colors, and they're all
we need to stop.
Kind of buddy, but Russia took it because they're like, I like it.
We gotta stop here because we need to save this segment. We gotta save this segment for next week and do our top 3 worst flags.
I already got mine.
I already got mine too, actually, because I was looking through.
Next week, flag history with the hockey podcast.
Right.
This is what you come for.
Yeah, that's exactly why everyone is here. Anyways, guys, thank y'all so much for following along with us here tonight. It continues to be so much fun doing this podcast. We're sorry we've been so sporadic with it so far this season. It's just with all of us in new situations in our lives, with me, with my job, James, being out in Longview now and not in the DFW area. And then Chris also starting with the whole 100-degree hockey thing. It's been a little bit difficult trying to figure out and kind of manipulate our schedules to where we can all be on at some point. It will get easier as we start to figure it out a little bit more. And especially after the second week of November, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I will be a much more regular on here than I have been the last couple of months. But like, I've really only gotten to watch 3 out of the last 8 Stars games, like live. Like I've had to watch them all late just because of other things that have been going on with my job, with life, with family, other stuff. So anyways, once again, thank y'all for following along. Dallas Stars will be back on Friday and Saturday against the Florida Panthers in the Global Series in Finland. I believe is it Espoo? No, where are the games being held at? It's not Helsinki.
Tampere, Finland.
Yes, that's correct. Okay, I knew it was in Helsinki. And sarcasticremarks.com is the website. sarcasticremarksshop.com is the merch store. The best way to support everything what we do. Thank you to our sponsors once again, DraftKings and Game Time. Promo code is THPN. Alongside
the 49-star flag didn't even last a year. It was only 9 months. That's crazy.
Alongside Chris and alongside James, my name is Ryan. We will catch you guys on the flip side, and we hope you guys have a good, fantastic morning, afternoon, evening. Whenever you guys are listening, go Stars.